of the word from the Lord. I already know it. And so I want you all to look with me at the book of Job. I want to look at Job's writing because I want to look at Job's mindset to help us with our perspective of God and who he is. And not only that, but I want to look at Job's mindset. Job chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. Job chapter 2. I want you to assess yourself as I bring this word to you on today because of the fact that when we suffer, some of us go into a panic. When some of us suffer, we become depressed.
All right.
That's why a whole bunch of people are on medication today. Don't you know that most folk that's on medication don't even need medication if they really trust the Lord? I wait for the amen to die down.
Right.
Jesus is my get high, he is my pill. I wait for the amen to die down. When I get some Jesus in me, when I start praying to him and really give it over to him, I get high. And don't want to come down.
That's right.
I wait for the amen to die down. And most people, especially depressants, and I know that some folk probably really need the medication. They might really need it. But I know a healer. From Gilead. I know somebody that can heal and restore anything that you have going on. I have a little story to share with y'all because Elder Watkins told me I could share it because it was part of his testimony about the loss of his wife.
My Lord.
Almost 30 years invested. They working on the battlefield for the Lord and they serving God. And so here now, cancer has taken her over again. 2 or 3 times in the past, God had eradicated it, and it was okay. So it was in remission. Y'all get that? And so it was okay. This particular time, God, Elder Watkins had prayed and asked God, do it again, Lord. Did it once before? Do it again. I'm on the battlefield for you.
Yes, Lord.
Do it again. Don't take my wife. You know. And so this time, the Lord said her assignment is done. He called her home. That broke his heart. He immediately asked God, why me, Lord? I'm on the battlefield for you. I'm doing your work. And immediately when I heard him say that, I thought about my grandson. I thought about those things. I thought about what I said to God when I found out that he was dead. That was one of the first things I asked the Lord too. Lord, I'm out here trying to move these young people and turn them in the right direction. Why me? Why my grandson, my first grandchild, who I raised like my son? Because you know I got 3 girls and a boy, and the boy is the baby. So when little Stacy came along, I got another son, man. Raised up with AJ. So now he's gone. Tragic though. It wasn't cancer, it wasn't sickness. Somebody took his life, murdered him, shot him in the head, shot him in the chest, and left him in the street bleeding and died. Left him in the street like a dog. And I said, why me? I thought about this. Job has a question that he asked the Lord too. And it came to me, why not you? You got this in control. I got your future in my hands.
Yeah.
Still got work for you to do.
Amen.
What Watkins said was the Lord told him, you need to get up. She's with me. Her assignment is done. He said he got it after that. Now I got to keep moving. I got to keep doing your will. I told y'all he was getting ready to resign from his church. He was going to walk away last year. He couldn't speak because he didn't want to preach anymore because he was hurt. Like get that. I understand that. I told him, I don't understand your feeling. I've never lost a wife physically with death. Divorce is like that, though. If you invest your life with somebody for a certain amount of time, divorce is like that. Just not physical. You still see that person, even though you might not want to see him. Wait for amen. Just saying, all that stuff that we go through when we suffer, you have the right to ask God the question, why? Even though we're human, and we can ask him the question, why? But there's going to be some reprieve behind that. And so I want to share with you today this age-old question, because a lot of people always ask the question, why does bad things happen to good people? As if we are exempt from troubles.
All right, come on now.
Stop by to tell y'all today that just because you're born again, now that you are born again, now that you are saved, the attacks are going to come.
Yes.
You can look for it because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You might not want it to happen, you might not want it to come.
Yeah.
But if you are a born again believer, or if you are a disciple of Jesus Christ and you're following Christ, you better look for something to come. If ain't nothing happening in your life and everything is peaches and roses, I guarantee you're not born again. I'll wait for amen. You're not saved, you're not born again. If everything is working your way and everything is going all right, and you can always talk about, I got this, I did that, I got this going on, whatever, and everything is peachy, which I know it's not, because that's a lie from the pits of hell anyway. Nobody's life in here is peachy. I wait for the amen to die. Nobody's life in here is peachy. Because if it ain't one thing, it's another. I wait for the amen to die down. If it ain't in your body physically, where your body is racked with pain, it's one of the kids acting up.
Oh, look out, Doc. Look out, man. Talk.
If it ain't one of the kids acting up,
Come on, Doc.
it's that wife or that
Come on,
husband.
Doc.
That wife or that husband acting crazy.
That's right.
If it ain't that,
That's it.
it could be your supervisor on the job.
Oh, no.
Picking on me. Every time I turn around, I'm doing the best I can. Always talking down on me, always picking on me.
That's it.
Nobody's life in here is exempt from the fall. This is what I want you all to get. That bad things happen to good people because you're in a sin-cursed world.
That's it. You're talking.
And there's no such thing as a peachy day every day. I tell people this, Isaac. People ask me about how is your day? I say I have good days and I have better days. I don't have bad days because guess what? Bad things happen in the day.
That's right.
Tragedies may come in the day.
That's right.
I might get physically ill during the day.
Right.
But the day is still good.
That's right.
Because the Lord is in the day.
That's right. That's right. That's it. That's it.
Psalmist had it. The psalmist got it. The psalmist got it. And he said, I rejoice in the Lord. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice even in your pain, even in your suffering, even in your grief, even in your sorrow. Let us rejoice in the day. Because there's nothing wrong with the day. The day is good, no matter how you look at it. But bad stuff happens. I get that. I understand that. So I want to try to help you understand this age-old question today. And that's my, this is going to be my subject matter. It's going to be, the theme is an age-old question. Because I know y'all have the question. I know y'all ask God sometimes why. I know you do, because you're human. If you don't, you're not human. And so, because I do. I try not to. I'm going to be real. I try not to, as if to say, I'm super Tony wrong, but I'm not super Tony wrong. I'm fallen Tony wrong. I'm broken Tony wrong. And see, that's what God can work with. God can work with you in your brokenness. If you're real on today, you will would say, yeah, I'm messed up too.
All right.
I ain't got it all together just because what you see on the outside, I might make it look good. I appear to be looking like I got it going on.
Uh-huh.
But when I get behind closed doors, I wait for the amen. I'm a mess. If you will be real. If you will be real. So today, I want to look at this text because I want to give you something from this text that'll help you to better, I think, just get a grip on things. I think, you know, in this text, there's a lot here, but I want to just park on verse 10. I want to park at verse 10 after I read this. Notice this is Job's second test. He's already been tested one time. This is the second test. And then he'll go through a third test. But I can't go through all that. It's not enough time to cover it. But what I do want to do before I even read chapter 2, verses 1 through 10, and we're going to park at verse 10, and I'm going to just give you a little bit from that because really, to be honest with you, no matter how hard you try, when you try to talk to people about suffering and stuff like that, I don't want to hear that. Who wants to hear when they lose a loved one? Who wants to hear, really, to be honest with you, who wants to hear, it's going to be all right? They don't want to hear that at that time, even though it's good for you to say, because guess what? You don't have another answer.
All right.
What other answer do you have if you haven't lost a loved one? Because you don't understand how they feel. Okay, all right. Y'all looking at me real funny. You don't know how they feel, so how can you tell them it's going to be all right? But you say that just to try to encourage them. I get it. I get it. But look at this though. Look at God, how in chapter 1, God esteems Job. In chapter 1, he esteems him. God says these words about Job, his servant, and then he allows all of this stuff, this catastrophe, this cataclysmic stuff, suffering to the nth degree. Nobody has ever suffered like this that I know of. I don't know of anybody that I know personally in all of my life have suffered like Job. But God is going to show us something here. Look at how God esteems him before Satan. Watch this in chapter 1 and verse 1. It says, in the land of Uz, there lived a man whose name was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God, and that's what you need to look at right there. He feared God because he wasn't blameless and upright because he was all this and that. He was blameless and upright because God said he was blameless and upright, because he feared God and he shunned evil. He had 7 sons, 3 daughters, 10 children, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among the people of the East. He was wealthy. He was rich. He had it going on. Look at God give him this resume. Let's go to chapter 2, verses 1 through 10, because we're not even going to talk about everything that took place between the dialogue between Satan and God, because Job had no idea that Satan was even in the picture the whole time. You know why? Because God never took the time to explain to him why he suffered like he did. I wish I had some praying people in here. I wish I had some folk in here right now that can attest to suffering, that know what it is to lose loved ones that you love so much, or that have just gone through something physically, cancer, or whatever the case may be. I don't know, heart attack, stroke, but God brought you back, and in that time you suffered, and you suffered in your mind, emotionally, you suffered physically, you suffered physically and relationally, everything you just suffered. You just suffered. Here, God shows us how he prepped his man, how he set him up. And this is for all of you in here on today. Watch this. Chapter 2, verse 1 says, on another day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. Great God from Zion. Here is this celestial meeting, this celestial encounter with God and Satan to present himself to him. And the Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? asked him this question. Satan answered the Lord, from roaming through the earth and going back and forth in it. This will remind you of 1 Peter chapter 5. I read it to you earlier in your hearing while we prayed at the throne of grace. And here Satan is trying to devour. You know, it says in 1 Peter's account in chapter 5 that he comes like a roaring lion trying to devour whoever he can.
Mm-hmm.
I think Peter was probably thinking about Job's testimony, Job's story. So then, watch this. He goes on to say, then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? This is why you can't ask the question, why? Because God will pick you out, not pick on you, pick you out for an assignment to show others who he is. I'll wait for the amen to that. God told Satan, he said, have you considered my servant Job? And what he said in so many words was, have you been thinking about somebody to mess with? I'm going to give you somebody. I'm going to show you something in this particular person that chapter 1 said he's blameless, upright, but here's the catch to that. He feared God and he shunned from evil. Watch this because it's going to get better. It's going to get better. Watch this because it goes on. Here God is giving me Job's testimony. There is no one on earth like him. This is God speaking to Satan. There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright. He goes back to chapter 1. Is his resume. A man who fears God and shuns evil. And he, watch this, and he still maintains his integrity. Do we maintain our integrity when all hell breaks loose?
All right.
And the floodgates come pouring out on us? Do we maintain our integrity? Says here, God says to Satan that this man maintains his integrity, which means that his faith and his trust is in the Lord, regardless of what's taking place. Joe, you incited me against him to ruin, watch this, ruin him without any reason. Watch this, because he had no reason. You know, Satan just threw something up and take your hands off him and no longer bless him. He'll curse you to your face. Watch this. Skin for skin, Satan replied. A man will give all he has for his own life. But watch this. Stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bone, and he will surely curse you to your face. Have y'all been in that position before, whereas something happened to you in your life and you wanted to turn your back on God because you didn't believe he was dead?
Come on now.
Have anything so bad happened in your life? Has there been trouble in your life so bad? Have there been such a tragedy in your life that you turned your back on God? You wanted to question him about what was going on as if he didn't have your future in his hands.
Yeah, come on.
Satan said, if you take your hands off him, he'll curse you to your face. Watch this. The Lord said to Satan, very well, then, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life. Now, here's God. Look at God. Watch this. God has given permission for Satan to mess with Job.
Yes, it is.
Now, watch this. This is how awesome God is, and this should give y'all some confidence about the personhood of God and who he is. How you can be confident in him and trust him. He said, you can do anything you want to do to him. I'm talking to all of y'all in here. But you can't touch his life. This is God.
Can't touch it.
You can't touch his life. You can put boils all on his body. You can make him sick, but he can't hold no food on his stomach. You can do anything you want to him. Take his children. Take all of them.
Yeah.
Because that's what he did. Take all of his livestock, take all of his real estate, take everything that means anything to him, but you can't touch his life. Here's the sovereignty of God. Now he's doing something in this. God is doing something in this. Watch this, because it gets better, y'all. It gets better. I mean, this is why I love the Word of God. I love the Bible, man. It just, the stories. The stories. Then he goes on to say this. He said, so Satan went out from the presence of the Lord, and he afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. So really, they did a reverse on us, y'all. From the top of his head to the soles of his feet, he had boils all over him. Can y'all imagine somebody with boils all over him?
Sore boy.
Sores that, you know, he took this pot shire and he broke it like a pot, a clay pot. He broke it and he took a piece of it and he was scraping it because the pus was oozing out all over the place because those sores, those blisters, I call them blisters, were so big and so nasty. And could you imagine he couldn't take a bath? Couldn't take a shower. He was hurting. Sores all in his mouth. He couldn't brush his teeth. Gingivitis. Breath, halitosis. I'm just, okay. Maybe y'all don't use y'all imagination when y'all read the word of God. I use my imagination. I'm trying to picture this man with boils all over him. He's hurting. He can't even sit on a pillow. Boils. He can't even sit down because it hurts. I can't imagine him just, you can't even lay down and go to sleep. You're miserable, you can't sleep. Because you're hurt.
That's pain right there.
On top of that, all your children gone. Everybody's gone. Everything's gone. One of the servants said, hey, master, I was looking up in the sky, and all of a sudden, I saw some fire come down, and it blew your house off, man. That's lightning. Yeah, lightning came down and burned up. Well, y'all got to read it for yourself. I can't go through the whole thing, but let me get back to this, because I want to finish. It goes on to say, he had these boils all over him, sores. He was hurting, in pain. Everything was going wrong. Then Job took a piece of broken pottery and scraped himself with it as he sat among the ashes, which just means that ashes thing is like a dump. It's just like it's like you throw something away. It's like where the trash heap is, and you're so embarrassed. You don't want to be around nobody in public. You just want to be off to yourself. It's just a place off to yourself. And now watch this. Now it gets even crazier. His wife said to him, and that's crazy. Now everybody is gone. All the children are gone, all the real estate, the Cadillac chariots, the Clydesdale horses, everything. Everybody's gone, everything. His wife said to him, are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die. She wasn't really telling him to die, but she was really trying to say stuff like, you know, it would be funny if you didn't even have a birthday. If you wasn't even on the calendar. You know, because you going through all this stuff, you need to curse God and die. He replied, this was his reply. You are talking like a foolish woman. He called her a fool.
Yes, he did.
Because the fool in Psalms 14:1, the fool says that there is no God. Y'all better read the Bible. See, I ain't calling nobody no fool. I'm just saying it's in the Bible. Because the Bible declares to us in Psalm 54 too, says the same thing. The fool says that there is no God. So this woman sounded foolish, as if to say that God wasn't real. Then he goes on, here's where we're going to part. He replied, you were talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble? In all this, Job did not sin in what he said. This is an age-old question. That's what I want to talk about for a few minutes. Because shall you accept good from God? Should God always be there to bless you and give you all the blessings and stuff like that, and you don't get nothing, no bad stuff in return? I'm gonna try to explain that a little bit today, if I can find my little paper. I told you it ain't gonna be long because it's only one little piece of paper. I can't even find it. Oh yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. But can we accept God's goodness? Can we accept his mercy, his love, his kindness, his goodness, his grace, and not accept bad? I mean, how do we deal with that? How do we deal with that? Well, we might have something in here for you in this text or in this message that'll help you, because it helped me, especially with what I went through with, losing my first grandchild being divorced in that same year, almost losing this church because, you know, the doors of the church was about to shut down. I mean, we didn't even have any money in here, and folk had just kind of stopped giving. There was always a faithful few, but folk had just kind of stopped giving, and we just thought the doors were going to shut, and it was all at one time. I was in one of those storms that was like that you know, they call them the F-23s. They give them, you know, these tornadoes are so rough now, they're so vicious now, they have to give them letters and numbers. They can't just call them a regular tornado. These tornadoes are so powerful that they just destroy everything in their path. Y'all remember one time it was like a tornado could come down and touch, and of course it could destroy stuff, but now the tornadoes are so bad that they just destroy everything. I was in one of those F-23 tornadoes. But this age-old question is what Job said right here. He said, shall we accept good from God and not trouble? And he didn't send this. How many of y'all can say that something has happened bad in your life, and yet you still stayed with God? You stayed with him, you praised him. You know, how many of y'all have really learned to praise God and worship God in your suffering? What I mean by that is, when you go through, because that was the only thing that kept me sane in 2012, is that I worshiped him. I gave him praise and honor and glory. I would get on my knees and I would pray for hours right here, right there. I pray and I call on his name because I wanted sanity. I wanted to know that I wasn't going crazy. I wasn't losing my mind. And I was checking myself all the time. I never stopped worshiping him. Deacon Carl Jones, Sister Deborah Starvall, Deacon Philip, they can attest to it. They were here. I just kept moving. They didn't even know Deacon Poole. If you thought something was wrong with me, you would have never known. If you thought it was wrong with me, you would have never known. I kept coming in here preaching, teaching Bible study, preaching out, doing weddings, doing funerals, all the stuff I normally do. Didn't want to do it, but I knew that God had a call on my life. He had an assignment for me. And I needed to keep pushing through it instead of sitting there having a pity party. How many of y'all get in pity parties when trouble comes? Right. Trouble comes, you want folk to feel sorry for you. You come with that sad face. You want people to feel sorry for you. You want them to give you a hand out. You want them to help you out and all that kind of stuff. God does not want us to stoop to that level. And he never wants us to stoop to anybody's level of ignorance. Don't be getting mad and upset with folk because you see how they respond in their troubles and their tribulations and testings. You do the same thing. You got to call on him because he's the only one that's going to keep you sane. The only one that's going to keep you on the right track. And Job here is a perfect example of it. So let me get into this message real quick. It's easy to think that problems should go away because we are Christians. Now that I'm a Christian, my faith will solve every problem, relieve every doubt. Yeah. But in Psalm 77, and all the Bible suggested that something else is contrary to what is being said. Even with faith, life is still full of problems and doubts. Amen. It is unrealistic to imagine that the Christian life, that any kind of life can be lived, watch this, without pain and doubt. Sometimes you're going to disbelieve, and the centurion asked Jesus, he says, I believe, but will you help me with my unbelief? Yeah. Because sometimes we doubt God. Yes, we do. Because we feel like he didn't show up. Job here, in the midst of everything that was going on with him, probably felt like, God, you got silent on me. I don't hear from you no more. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. Do y'all feel like that sometimes? Like God got silent on you? Like he hasn't heard your prayers. He hasn't heard your cries. And what do you do? What do you do? Do you stop there? Do you stop loving him? Do you stop worshiping him? Do you stop praising him? No, you continue to press like the old woman that went to court. It kept coming before the judge, and the reason why she kept coming before the judge is because she wanted an answer, and guess what? Eventually the judge said, let her go ahead on the path with him. This was an evil judge. The Bible said this was an evil judge. But she was so persistent. I'm trying to tell y'all something this morning, because you don't need to give up. You don't need to give in. You don't need to throw in the towel. You need to keep on being persistent. You need to keep on talking to the Lord. Just because he got silent, y'all remember in the inter New Testament or the inter testaments, there was 400 years of silence between the Old Testament and the New Testament. God didn't speak to nobody. Y'all better read the Bible. From Malachi to the Gospels, to Matthew in the Gospel, there was 400 years of silence. God didn't speak to nobody in those 400 years. He had a reason for that. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't there. I'm saying that to say this. Just because God ain't talking back to you don't mean he ain't there.
Right.
Just because he's silent at the time don't mean he ain't there. He's still there. And what you need to understand is he's still God. That's what we miss. We miss that he is still God. The history of God's people is a linked, recorded record of tragedies, catastrophe, problems, pain, and yes, doubts. Watch this. It's hard enough to endure affliction, but if our faith collapses under the passive or the pressure, we lose not only our current battle, but all other battles. Faith helps us navigate the stormy and uncertain waters that threaten to capsize us. That along with the temptations of life, these things should have us to lean more towards our Lord. You don't leave the Lord, because then you've missed the whole point of your trials and testings and your tribulations. You lean more on to him. The book of James says, draw near to God, and he'll draw near to you. Just because he's not answering your prayers and talking back to you does not mean that he's not there. Amen. You lean on him. Because if you lean on me, you're going to fall short. Yeah. I might can encourage you. I might can say some words that might jog something, might help you out or whatever, but you don't need to lean on me. I'll wait for 8 minutes. You need to lean on the Lord. Because he can fix whatever is going on. And then sometimes, how about this, y'all? How about this? Sometimes, why do y'all get in people's business when God is doing something? Wait for 8 minutes. I'm almost finished. I need y'all to understand this, though. You need to stay out.